Hello and welcome back to Venus. And we are on day 140 and we finally have this big trader. And luckily for us it's an android and not a human, so we didn't really have to we didn't really need to depressurize and oxygenate the landing pad, but I mean at this point we could have, but we were lucky and got an android instead. And this guy had Winterspawn for us. So we are on the second batch of Winterspawn now, and this room has been completed with grow lights and atmospheric controls and things like that. And this guy will grow up to be our primary cooler, hopefully. So yeah, I still have the trader here sitting here because I wanted to buy out the rest of the basic seeds while I had him here. Other than that, though, it hasn't. There isn't a lot that has happened since the last video yet. This is a room I've been working on, so I'm planning on putting in power here. So. At least a gas fuel generator to begin with, and down in the atmospherics corner there has also been some stuff, some workings. I'm gonna guess that a few of you would like me to explain what everything does here and stuff, but everything is so temporary. I keep changing it and rebuilding stuff and moving pipes and recoloring and everything, so I don't think it's really productive to use a lot of time explaining everything, but I can quickly explain the principle at work here. And a lot of people, when they think atmospherics room, they think of the typical 8 array of filtration units that filter out each gas individually and then store them in a tank and then etc. Right? I don't do that. I used to way back when, but I haven't done that in a long time. So what we're doing here is that this yellow pipe, for example, is the Winterspawn room. It just snakes through the base and then comes down here, and we have the temperature control here, and we have air filtration, so we just take out the stuff we need, and then we have a pump on, like this is the blue pipe here is the nitrogen, so we use just a volume pump to fill it back up with nitrogen as that gets depleted, and we take out oxygen and hydrogen when they reach a critical point, and just filter it out into the pure pipes. So we'll have like this white pipe, that's just the oxygen pipe, and the blue pipe is the nitrogen pipe, and yeah. But like I said, this is gonna change so much, and I keep recoloring everything and moving pipes here and there, and a lot of this is also temporary. Like there's stuff here that we are not gonna need when it comes to a point, like this guy who's sole responsibility is to cool down the Winterspawn room. And I mean, as soon as the Winterspawn grows up and fills out that room, then this guy is obviously not gonna see much use, right? So is this guy. This is this guy filters out the nitrogen from the fuel line, and the reason we have nitrogen in fuel line is because we get it straight from ISIS, like I explained in the last episode. Now eventually we're gonna stop buying ISIS, so that'll mean we will stop having nitrogen in the fuel line, and then this guy will simply get retired, right? So I don't really know how much I need in here or how much it's gonna end up being in here, so as of now I'm just sticking things in here, and then at some point I might just rip everything out and rebuild it when I have a better idea of how much stuff that actually needs to sit in here. And jumping ahead to day 181, and the atmospherics room has gotten a lot of upgrades here now. And that's because the base has been severely upgraded since the last time. Yeah, so first of all, the power room is now functional. It's not finished, it's not pretty, but it's functional. So we can jump inside and have a look at it. What we've done, we still have the windmills up there, and they still supply most of the power. But we do have a gas fuel generator now running that makes sure of, secures the power supply a bit more. And like I said, the room is not pretty and absolutely not finished, but yeah, it's at least securing the power now. So we have a few nitrolyzers here, although only one of them is currently powered. I don't really know how many I'm gonna need at the end of this, but I have put up 3. I could always squeeze in 1 more, but hopefully 4 will be enough, I'm hoping. We also have Stirling engines, and these guys are obviously not operational yet, but we have started to build them here, and I've seen a lot of people ask the question, what's better, Stirling engine or gas fuel generator? And the obvious answer is both. I mean, the Stirling engines, if you're gonna combust the fuel anyway for the Stirling engines, why not combust it inside a gas fuel generator and then use the waste gases there to the Stirlings? That way you can harvest all the power. But yeah, this room is gonna need a few upgrades to cooling and stuff before we get that far. But the gas fuel generator right now is running on the regular fuel mix that we have plenty of, but hopefully we can build up enough nitrous oxide to run it on nitrous fuel soon enough, and that should give us plenty of hot gases as well, which is eventually will come out here, and that's because the next thing I'm gonna be working on, I think, is the crafting room. So the starter base is still exactly where it were the last time you saw it. It's down there, and it still supports the crafting, so the pipe bender and stuff. And yeah, I also got some Darga ferns, so we have made this room operational, and this is gonna be a lot of Darga ferns, hopefully soon, for oxygen production. But yeah, basically just been building and building and building more and more. Trying to get functionality first and then make it pretty later. But yay, we're slowly getting there. And having a secure power supply now is probably gonna help a lot. Oh yeah, we have a Winterspawn room that's fully grown. This guy is absolutely a sight to behold. I calculated how many there were in here. 100 and something, if I remember correctly. Not actually sure. But I did calculate the cooling capacity of this room, and this room here, this room alone has a cooling capacity of 22 kilowatts of cooling, I think. Which means that room provides more cooling than the AC tower, the big AC tower we have on the atmospherics end there. And this cost me like, I don't know, a few 100 watts in grow lights that just to keep the plants alive. Obviously it's not cheap to build because of all the planters. They cost like 10 iron each. So it's not a cheap investment, but when you have it, then it's a lot cheaper to keep running than the AC setup. So this is great to have, and they produce some hydrogen as well, so I think they are barely hydrogen positive considering the water they are drinking. We're still not making water though, mainly because it's so cheap to buy from the trader and it's so expensive to cool it down. I think I think I'm gonna have the water production here, and then we can get it cooled down somehow. But yeah, we have a bunch of water currently, and I just keep buying it because it's so cheap to buy. Honestly, water has such a high specific heat capacity, so cooling it is expensive. Buying it is considerably cheap, comparatively cheap. So yeah, eventually we'll make the water, but right now all the hydrogen these guys produces goes to the gas fuel generator, and then we buy the water instead of making it. But that'll change at some point. But right now it's a great cooler, and I think I mentioned it in the first or second episode. This is a lot more scalable than keep making AC towers, right? And on the dawn of day 200, the base is finally starting to cool down, actually. I have closed the last door and covered up the last window, and we are starting to cool down the base. So we have one radiator here, and we have which is connected to the blue pipe. And the blue pipe is the same blue pipe, the cold side of the AC. And we have one radiator over here, which is the Winterspawn room. And that's pretty much all we can afford, because both of these convect about 18 kilojoule, as you can see. So those two combined is pretty much maxing out our cooling capacity. And I can't even run that fully, both of them, because that leaves no cooling capacity left for the gas fuel generator. But we have a lot of cold gas stored up, so I can keep both of them on for some time. And as you can see, the crafting room is now built, and we have a proper grown-up furnace now embedded in the floor here. The reason it's in that in between space is because we're not actually gonna be seeing it. The chutes here are also temporary. We're gonna put in some automatic ingot delivery system at some point. So right now it's semi-manual and kind of hidden away, and that's why we have these pipes running here for the furnace. Let me get in there. Let's see. Yeah, we made a recycler to recycle some junk. Yeah, so here's the furnace sitting, hidden away. And one thing I wanted to mention, because I don't think it's been mentioned in any of my videos prior, and I made a furnace video, I think in August last year, and very shortly after that video they changed how radiation works. So you can't put a furnace inside a frame or inside a vacuum anymore without it losing heat. But what you can do is give it an atmosphere. Just make sure it has an atmosphere, and it happily sits here and not really do anything. See, it's radiating 2 joules per tick here, but that's nothing really. So yeah, that's how you avoid the furnace losing heat. Basically, just give it an atmosphere around it, and I think there's like a magic pressure you want to aim for to avoid things combusting in there. I have the orange pipe here. It's a passive vent from the inside connected to an active vent outside, and this just make sure that the pressure inside the furnace box is somewhere between 130 and 150 kPa. And that's like the golden zone for not losing heat. And nothing will combust no matter what temperature in there. But yeah, we have the gas fuel generator is now running on nitrous oxide fuel. So we can have a quick look at that. Yeah. So this pipe here is mixing nitrogen and oxygen to a 50-50 ratio. This pipe goes past this filtration unit, it goes all the way up to the neutralizers. The neutralizer output comes back down here. And it looks like they are running currently. And this guy will just, toggle on every now and then filter the nitrous oxide into this pipe, and everything else just loops back. The nitrous oxide goes over here. It meets the hydrogen pipe here, and then it gets mixed into nitrous oxide and volatiles fuel, which goes up to the generator. And yeah, I don't think I've mentioned the cooling system. I mentioned how it works, but not specifically the cooling system here. So we have this guy. It's the cooling for the fuel line. I don't think I really needed it. I haven't made it operational, I just made it. This is temperature control for Winterspawn. This is for the generator room. That's why it's on 2, because, out of all the rooms here, that the generator room is going to be the real heater. And this is now the greenhouse, basically. So the original AC setup we had by the starter base, it's still there, but it's been disconnected. But I figured there is no point in tearing it down, in case I might need it at some point. So let's jump out real quick and have a look outside. Oop. And yeah, this is basically everything that's left of the starter base. Just some trash, basically, that's gonna go in the recycler. The original AC setup, disconnected. It doesn't have any power yet, or anymore, but it still has a bunch of cold gas in it, so this thing also is still here, but not used. Everything is now controlled by the atmospherics room. The Dargafern is being multiplied and growing. This room is also just connected to the greenhouse. Same pipe network as down here. And this greenhouse hasn't really seen much action. There are some dead plants in there because, well, there was an incident. Basically, when I wanted to pressurize this room, I just closed it off and then placed the passive vent there and thought, well, my cooling system is gonna be able to handle it, right, with this room fully filled with Venus atmosphere. And I was kinda right, it did handle it, but perhaps not fast enough. But yeah, I think the greenhouse down there is going to get the next upgrade. And that's because I need more ores, kinda. Well, indirectly. I have been mining manually up until now. The terrain around here is literally Swiss cheese. But I'm starting to get a bit tired of hand mining. So to get a better supply of ores, I did think about setting up a deep miner, but I'm not a huge fan of the deep miner. I don't want to use a resource rocket because, well, I'm not a fan of that one either, but that's also gonna get changed. So I thought we could just utilize the trading system we already have running. And basically I want to set up like a super industrial system here that automatically calls down the ore traders, and then we sell them a bunch of canned food and buy all their ores, and we acquire the ores that way. But to get that running, we need to set up some industrial plant production. But yeah, it's coming along, progress is going, and like I said, we are already on day 200. But this is a big project and it's gonna take me a long time. The last time I did a Venus base, I played it for, I think, 1,400 in-game days. So this base is a lot larger, so it's probably gonna take us somewhere around that time period as well. But I think that's it for this episode. Hopefully you enjoy to see the progress upgrades. And yeah, the next video will come out whenever the next video comes out. Hopefully not too long. Anyway, I guess thanks for watching.